Welcome to the Deep Dive, your go-to source for extracting the most important nuggets of knowledge from, well, often a pile of information. Think of us as your shortcut to truly understanding a topic, maybe with a few surprising facts, and hopefully just enough humor to keep you engaged. Today, we're taking a really crucial deep dive into the world of cybersecurity. Our focus, the Center for Internet Security, or CIS, and specifically the fundamental design principles behind their widely recognized cybersecurity controls. For you, our listener, our mission is to extract those core insights that help you understand not just what these controls are, but really how they're designed, how they effectively strengthen an organization's digital defenses against today's, well, ever-evolving threats. And I think especially for those of you navigating IT audits or maybe prepping for professional certifications, understanding these underlying principles is absolutely key. Before we dive deeper, just a quick reminder that this deep dive is based on material from Farhat lectures. All the content, examples, explanations we discuss here, they're derived from the comprehensive accounting resources over at farhatlectures.com. So whether you're an accounting student, a CPA candidate, or already a professional, definitely visit the website for additional practice questions, video lectures, and detailed support to reinforce today's topic. And a special thanks to Professor Farhat for providing this valuable material. Okay, so to kick us off, what exactly is CIS, and what is it about these controls that makes them such a robust framework for organizations, of all shapes and sizes? What's the core idea?
Right. Well, CIS, the Center for Internet Security, it actually started as a nonprofit organization. It was formed by a group of really passionate volunteers. Their main goal, which is still central today, is all about enhancing cybersecurity, readiness, and resilience. And that's across both public and private sectors. It began here in the U.S., yeah, but its approach, practical, actionable, it quickly earned global recognition. Essentially, they've become this trusted authority for setting benchmarks, best practices in cybersecurity.
And their most well-known contribution, I think the thing people often think of when they hear CIS, that's the 18 CIS controls, right? These are seen pretty widely as a foundational roadmap for improving security posture.
Exactly. The 18 CIS controls are a very carefully curated set of best practices and guidelines. They're designed to help organizations, really any size small business, up to huge corporations, implement defenses against the most common, the most impactful security issues they face. Think of it like a prioritized cybersecurity to-do list. But what's really fascinating and what we're digging into today are the design principles that actually underpin these controls. It's not just a list of stuff to do. They're built on a philosophy, really.
Philosophy, huh? I like that. That's a great way to put it. So let's get into that. What's the first of these foundational principles that makes these controls so effective?
Okay, the first one, and you could argue it's the most critical, is prioritization. The CIS controls aren't just some random checklist. No, they are meticulously designed to help organizations focus their security actions where they will have the greatest impact, against the most prevalent and dangerous threats out there. It's about being strategic, especially when resources are limited.
Okay, so it's not just doing something, but doing the right thing first. How does that actually look in practice, say in a corporate setting, or maybe for an audit perspective?
Precisely. Yeah, for an organization, it means identifying your most valuable assets. That could be sensitive customer data, maybe intellectual property, or critical operational systems. And then securing those with the highest priority. From an accounting or audit standpoint, this is absolutely crucial. Auditors often look at how organizations manage risk, right? Effective prioritization isn't just about, say, patching some random server. It's about understanding the potential financial loss, the reputational damage, if that specific server, maybe the one holding customer financial records, were compromised.
Oh, okay.
So you'd prioritize securing that external-facing server holding sensitive data way before you worry about, an internal marketing website.
Yeah.
The business impact is just far greater. It shifts the focus from just technical vulnerabilities to genuine business risk.
That makes perfect sense. Focus on the biggest fires first, or protect the crown jewels, as they say. But how do they make sure these controls are broadly applicable and accepted by so many different types of organizations? You've got government, small businesses, universities. How do they get everyone to agree on what the biggest fires are? Especially in big companies with, competing agendas.
That's where the principle of consensus really shines. It's key. See, the controls aren't developed in some ivory tower by just one group. They emerge from this collaborative process. It involves a really diverse group of cybersecurity experts from government agencies, from private industry, from academia.
Oh, okay.
This consensus-driven approach ensures the controls reflect a broad, collective understanding of best practices, not just one narrow viewpoint. This means they can accommodate the unique needs of, say, a defense contractor versus a retail chain or a research institution,
Hmm.
because those different voices were actually at the table helping shape them.
Right.
It really fosters a sense of ownership and, like you said, broad applicability.
So it's not just a top-down mandate, it's more like a shared framework built on collective wisdom.
Got it. Okay, so an organization puts these controls in place. How do they actually know they're working? How do you measure progress beyond just checking a box saying, yep, we did it?
That leads us right into the next principle, measurability. The CIS controls are explicitly designed to allow organizations to track their progress and to assess both compliance and effectiveness over time. This is incredibly important for accountability, right? And for demonstrating the value, the ROI of security spending. An internal auditor, for example, wouldn't just confirm that, okay, a security policy exists. They'd look for evidence that it's being measured
Okay.
and that those measurements actually show improvement.
Can you give us an example? How does this measurability actually play out? Sure. Think about vulnerability management. An organization might regularly scan its network for weaknesses, right?
Mm.
Instead of just getting a huge list back, the results could be assigned, say, a numerical score or categorized by severity, critical, high, medium. So if last month they found, let's say, 10 critical vulnerabilities, and this month they only found 5, that's a clear, measurable improvement.
Right, you can see the trend.
Exactly. Or maybe their incident response team was able to contain, say, 8 out of 10 attacks last quarter within a target time frame. And this quarter, they managed 9 out of 10. That's a measurable gain in their efficiency, their resilience. Measurability allows for objective reporting and helps drive those continuous improvement efforts we'll talk about.
Okay, that makes sense. But, cybersecurity is such a constantly shifting landscape. New threats pop up, seems like daily sometimes.
Mhm.
How do the CIS controls keep up? It's not a static document they published once, is it?
Absolutely not. And that's the whole essence of the next principle, continuous improvement.
Hey.
Everyone recognizes the threat landscape is constantly evolving.
Yeah.
So these controls are specifically designed to be adaptable. They're open to regular updates and revisions. What worked last year might not be enough today, and almost certainly won't be sufficient tomorrow.
Yeah.
So for an organization, this means regularly reviewing and updating things like their incident response plans. You learn from previous security incidents, right? It's about taking that measurable data we just discussed, analyzing it, and then actively adapting your defenses. Think of it like a living document, always learning, always evolving to try and stay ahead or at least keep pace with the bad guys.
So definitely never a set it and forget it kind of deal,
Right.
especially with new attack vectors emerging all the time. Now, what about smaller organizations, or maybe those without huge IT departments, big budgets? Can they still realistically use these controls? Or are they really geared towards the big enterprises?
That's a great question, and it's addressed by the principle of simplicity. The controls are intentionally designed to be clear, concise, and practical. The goal is to make them easy to understand and implement, even for organizations that might have limited cybersecurity resources or maybe not a lot of specialized staff.
Okay.
An effective security policy, for instance, shouldn't just be understood by the IT wizards. It needs to be comprehensible to every single employee.
So we're talking about using clear language, actionable steps, that kind of thing?
Exactly. Like, security policy should be written in plain language. Avoid all the super technical jargon. So everyone from the CEO down to the frontline staff can understand it and, crucially, follow it. And this applies to the controls themselves, too. They're structured to be straightforward enough that, say, a small business owner, maybe with some help from a general IT consultant, can start putting key protections in place. You don't necessarily need a whole team of dedicated security engineers just to get started. This practicality is key for broad adoption.
Okay, that's good to hear. Now, when an organization adopts these controls, do they get sort of locked into a specific type of technology or a particular vendor? Like, do you have to buy certain software or hardware to be compliant?
Not at all. And this highlights a really important principle, implementation agnosticism. It's sometimes called technology neutrality. CIS controls are deliberately designed to be technology agnostic.
Agnostic, okay.
Yeah, meaning they're applicable across a whole range of industries and tech environments. It doesn't matter what specific tools, vendors, or platforms an organization uses.
So the focus is on the What needs to be achieved, the security outcome, not the how you achieve it or which specific product you use.
Precisely. And this flexibility is vital. It allows an organization to choose the solutions that best fit its specific needs, its existing infrastructure, and, yeah, its budget.
Yeah.
You're not forced into some proprietary technology trap. An organization can choose a firewall from vendor A or an endpoint security system from vendor B based on their own requirements and what they already have. This principle really supports cost effectiveness and adaptability. It ensures the controls stay relevant across all sorts of different tech stacks.
What if a company already has other security frameworks they're using, maybe something like the NIST framework or COBIT? Do these CIS controls conflict with those, or are they designed to work together?
No, they're absolutely designed to work in harmony. That brings us to the principle of integration. The controls are intended to be integrated right into an organization's existing security strategies and their overall risk management frameworks. So if you're already using something like NIST, which is, the National Institute of Standards and Technology's big cybersecurity framework, or maybe COBIT for IT governance,
Yeah, familiar with those.
CIS controls are designed to complement those existing measures. They support a more holistic approach, making sure security isn't just some siloed activity, but it's woven into the fabric of how the organization operates.
So for someone like an auditor, they'd be looking at how CIS controls maybe enhance or plug gaps in the broader control environment rather than replacing it entirely.
Exactly right. You'd see the security team, for instance, collaborating closely with IT operations, making sure security measures fit seamlessly into the infrastructure, into business processes, without causing conflicts or just duplicating effort. It's really about building a layered defense, where different frameworks can actually reinforce each other, ideally creating a stronger overall security posture.
Okay, so they provide a great baseline, these fundamental best practices. But can they be tailored? Can a company tweak them based on its unique situation, its specific risks, or maybe industry requirements?
Yes, definitely. That's the principle of customization. While these controls offer a really robust baseline, they are definitely not a one-size-fits-all solution. They can and often really should be customized, tailored to fit a company's unique risk profile, its regulatory environment, its individual needs. Every organization is different, right? Different threats, different assets to protect.
How might that customization look different? Say, comparing a financial institution to maybe a manufacturing plant.
Okay, good example. A financial institution, they would tailor their security measures to very specifically address the high-stakes risks around handling tons of financial transactions and sensitive customer data. They'd be heavily focused on regulatory compliance too, things like PCI DSS for payment cards or GDPR for data privacy. That level of focus on data integrity and confidentiality.
Right, very data-centric.
Exactly. It would look significantly different from, say, a manufacturing plant. They might prioritize securing their OT, their operational technology systems, to prevent disruption to the factory floor, or maybe protecting the intellectual property related to their product designs.
Totally different priorities.
Totally different. The core principles, like prioritization, still apply, but the application gets fine-tuned to the specific context.
What's really fascinating here, listening to all this, is the emphasis on community. It doesn't sound like just a top-down thing from CIS. It feels much more collaborative.
You're absolutely right to pick up on that. And that is, in fact, another key principle, community involvement. CIS actively encourages broad participation from the cybersecurity community worldwide. This includes everything from, asking for feedback on existing controls, welcoming contributions for developing new ones, fostering open collaboration among experts everywhere.
Huh.
This ensures the controls stay relevant, stay practical, stay effective, because they reflect real-world experiences and insights from people actually on the front lines of cyber defense.
So it's kind of a living, breathing framework that's constantly informed by the people actually doing the work. Can you give an example of maybe a key player in this community involvement?
Oh, a fantastic example is SANS.
Yeah.
The SANS Institute System Administration, Networking, and Security. SANS is this highly respected nonprofit known globally for their top-tier cybersecurity training, certifications, research. They're huge.
Yeah, I've definitely heard of SANS.
Right. Well, they don't just teach security. They actively contribute to and champion these very community principles that help evolve frameworks like the CIS controls. SANS often validates, supports, integrates CIS best practices right into their training curriculum. And they host these massive annual training events, huge gatherings where professionals learn, share knowledge, and really contribute to that collective body of cyber defense expertise. This kind of active participation ensures the controls are grounded in reality and aligned with current threats.
And finally, I guess all this great theoretical knowledge, these really well-designed principles, it all needs to translate into actual tangible improvements on the ground, right? It can't just stay as abstract ideas.
Exactly. And that brings us to the final principle, which sort of ties everything together, practicality. The controls are fundamentally designed to address the real-world security challenges that organizations face every single day. The aim is always to provide actionable guidance that organizations can actually use immediately to enhance their security posture, even if they have limited resources.
So it's really about tangible, achievable steps, not just lofty, aspirational goals that smaller places could never reach.
Precisely. Think about an organization with limited resources,
Hmm.
maybe a small accounting firm, right? Practicality might mean focusing first on basic, but really highly effective measures. Things like implementing multi-factor authentication,
Yeah.
MFA, for all critical systems, especially anything accessing client financial data. That's
Hmm.
huge. And providing comprehensive, regular cybersecurity awareness training for all employees, teaching them how to spot phishing attempts, for instance. These are often high-impact, relatively low-cost actions that significantly reduce common risks. You do those before you start investing in maybe more advanced, more complex, more expensive security tech. It's about getting the biggest security bang for your buck. To really nail down our understanding of these principles, let's try a quick scenario, like something you might see in a review question for a certification exam. Okay, which design principle of the Center for Internet Security Controls emphasizes addressing the most critical security issues first, especially when resources might be limited? Would that be A, consensus, B, measurability, C, prioritization, or D, continuous improvement?
Hmm. Okay, based on our conversation, thinking about limited resources, focusing on the biggest risks first. That sounds an awful lot like prioritization. I'd go with C.
You are absolutely spot on. C, prioritization, is indeed the correct answer. It speaks directly to that strategic allocation of resources, time, money, people, to the areas with the highest potential impact or the highest risk. While, consensus is about collaborative development, measurability is about tracking how well you're doing, and continuous improvement is about adapting over time. Only prioritization specifically guides you to tackle the most critical issues first.
That makes it incredibly clear, and it really shows how these principles aren't just separate ideas, they weave together into a coherent strategy. Understanding these CIS design principles is just invaluable. This deep dive, I hope, has offered you a comprehensive shortcut. Not just to know what effective cybersecurity frameworks contain, but really how and why they're built the way they are, to be truly effective in the real world. Honestly, for anyone dealing with IT systems or data or compliance these days, these principles feel pretty foundational.
Yeah, and if we connect this to the bigger picture for a second, these principles, they aren't just for giant corporations or government agencies. Not at all. They really encourage a fundamental shift in critical thinking. Thinking about how any system, even your own personal digital security or your small business's network, can be continuously improved and adapted. The idea of prioritizing your most sensitive personal data, maybe measuring your progress in securing it, continuously improving your online habits, it all applies really.
So, what does this all mean for you, our listener, heading out from this deep dive? Maybe consider this a final provocative thought. Given these really powerful principles we've discussed, prioritization, measurability, continuous improvement, what's just one specific area, maybe in your own digital habits or your home network security or even your professional approach to handling data, where could you apply a CIS principle to make it just a bit more secure this week? Think about it. And then maybe take one small action. And remember, to continue your learning journey to really cement these concepts, do head over to farhatlectures.com. You'll find additional practice questions, loads of valuable resources there that can help you integrate this knowledge, especially if you're studying for professional exams or just want to deepen your understanding in this area. Invest in yourself. Good luck, study hard, and of course, stay safe.